Nnamdi Kanu's youngest brother sparks chaos as he reveals shocking truth. Nnamdi Kanu's younger brother, Prince Emmanuel Kanu, recalled the 2017 Nigerian military invasion of their home, which led to the deaths of 28 people, including their parents. He emphasized that it was a planned attack intended to eliminate the entire family. Every February 14th, the family and supporters honor those who died in the invasion, ensuring their sacrifices are never forgotten. Nnamdi Kanu's recent court appearance in Abuja was controversial. While some saw it as teaching legal procedures, critics claimed he was causing disruptions. His legal team questioned why a judge who had recused herself was reassigned to the case. Emmanuel Kanu accused Nigerian authorities, including the Attorney General and the judiciary, of a deliberate plot to imprison Nnamdi Kanu indefinitely, despite lacking evidence of a crime. Emmanuel Kanu criticized Southeast governors for failing to push for Nnamdi Kanu's release, contrasting their silence with the efforts made by Yoruba leaders in securing Sunday Igboho's release. He highlighted the economic strangulation of the Southeast, citing the government's refusal to allow seaports and airports in the region to function fully, forcing businesses to rely on Lagos. He alleged that criminal elements, including security agencies, falsely label crimes as IPOB related to discredit the group, even as Eastern Security Network, ESN, was meant to protect against external threats. He argued that Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention allows criminals to exploit his name for illegal activities, suggesting his release would help identify real criminals and restore order. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, recently urged the president to release Nnamdi Kanu to bring peace to the Southeast. Emmanuel Kalu appreciated the effort but emphasized the need for a unified demand from Southeast leaders. Emmanuel Kanu stated that mechanisms are being put in place to identify and deal with criminals falsely claiming to be IPOB or ESN members, ensuring their days are numbered. I still remember the first time I truly heard the story, a story that has haunted many families in Nigeria and that left me with an unshakable feeling of sorrow mixed with anger. I was at home one quiet afternoon when I came across a conversation by Prince Emmanuel Kanu, the youngest brother of Nnamdi Kanu, a name that has been in the headlines for so long. As I listened intently, I felt as though I was sitting right there with him, sharing in the deep personal pain of his memories and the harsh realities he faced. His voice was raw with emotion, and every word he spoke brought back memories of a time that changed the course of his family's life forever. Prince Emmanuel Kanu began by recalling a fateful event that occurred in August of 2017, a day that would forever scar his family's history and the history of the indigenous people of Biafra. On that day, the Nigerian military, under orders that many now believe were carefully planned, invaded the family home of Nnamdi Kanu and his kin. It was not a random act of violence, but a premeditated attack designed to wipe out the entire family. In that brutal invasion, 28 lives were lost, and among those who perished were the beloved parents of Prince Emmanuel Kanu and his siblings. As I listened, I could almost see the haunted eyes of a young boy who had grown up in a household filled with warmth and love, only to see it all vanish in an instant. The memories that Prince Emmanuel Kanu shared were not only a recollection of past events, but also a ritual that the family observes every year. Every 14th day of February, a day that has come to be known as Remembrance Day for the indigenous people of Biafra, the family gathers with supporters and friends to honor the lives that were lost during that dreadful military operation. On that day, they remember the sacrifices made by their parents, by their elders, and by so many others who lost their lives in what can only be described as a calculated act of aggression. I found myself deeply moved by this annual tribute, a simple yet profound act of remembrance that serves as both a healing process and a way to ensure that the voices of the departed are never silenced. In one of his most impassioned moments, Prince Nnamdi Kanu recounted the painful details of the invasion. He explained that prior to that tragic event, there had been a meeting between the indigenous leaders of Biafra and representatives of the government in one of the states. There was hope then, a promise that the concerns of the indigenous people would be taken seriously and that their demands would reach the highest offices in Abuja. However, this promise was short-lived. Just a couple of weeks after that meeting, what was known as Operation PS was launched, a covert military assault that not only claimed the lives of 28 individuals, but also resulted in the irreversible loss of his parents and several close relatives. I could feel the anguish in his voice as he recalled how the sound of approaching sirens and the sight of police vehicles sent shivers down the spines of the local children. He spoke of a little girl standing outside his parents' house, crying out in terror every time she saw the flashing lights or heard the blaring sirens. These were not merely sounds of chaos, they were the echoes of a community under siege, memories that would forever remain etched in the hearts of those who experienced that day. Listening to his recollections, I could not help but reflect on how such an event could alter the course of a family's destiny. Prince Nnamdi Kanu's narrative was more than a recounting of facts. It was a deeply personal testimony of loss and betrayal. He explained that the attack was not a spontaneous act of military aggression, but a planned operation aimed at decimating his entire family. Every detail he shared, from the strategic planning behind the invasion to the systematic elimination of family members, painted a picture of cold, calculated cruelty. The pain in his voice was unmistakable when he described the moment he realized that the attack was meant to be an eradication of his lineage, a deliberate move by elements within the Nigerian security agencies to silence a family that had long been seen as a symbol of resistance. As if the wounds of that day were not deep enough, Prince Nnamdi Kanu went on to discuss the more recent events surrounding the legal battles of his older brother, Nnamdi Kanu. The saga had taken another dramatic turn when Nnamdi Kanu made a controversial court appearance in Abuja. The atmosphere in the courtroom was charged with tension and a sense of injustice that seemed to permeate every corner of the room. While some members of the public viewed the court proceedings as an opportunity to learn about legal procedures and understand the workings of the Nigerian justice system, many others saw it as a deliberate attempt to disrupt the natural course of justice. Critics argued that his courtroom appearance was not about educating the masses, but rather about creating noise, about stirring up a situation that would keep his name and the issues he stood for constantly in the public eye. What made the situation even more perplexing was the legal maneuverings that took place behind the scenes. Prince Nnamdi Kanu detailed how one of the judges, who had earlier recused herself from the case, was unexpectedly reassigned to it. This move, which defied the expectations of many legal experts and observers, raised questions about the fairness and transparency of the judicial process. Prince Nnamdi Kanu's legal team was left dumbfounded, questioning the very legitimacy of having a judge who had already declared a conflict of interest now presiding over the case. To him, it was yet another indication that there was a hidden agenda at play, a conspiracy designed to ensure that his elder brother, Nnamdi Kanu, would remain incarcerated indefinitely, despite the lack of any concrete evidence that he had committed a crime. The anger in his voice was palpable as he accused the Nigerian authorities, specifically naming the Nigerian Attorney General and elements within the judiciary, of orchestrating this plot to imprison his brother. According to Prince Nnamdi Kanu, this was not an isolated incident, but part of a broader pattern of injustice that had plagued his family and the indigenous people of Biafra for years. He lamented that while some leaders in the Yoruba community had taken proactive steps to secure the release of another detained leader, Sunday Igboho, the governors from the southeast had remained conspicuously silent. This silence, he argued, was not born out of a lack of concern, but from a deliberate decision to maintain the status quo. A decision that, in his view, only served to further the economic and political strangulation of the Southeast. I remember thinking about how deeply personal and politically charged this issue was. Prince Nnamdi Kanu did not merely talk about legal technicalities or political maneuvers, he spoke from the heart. He explained that the Nigerian government had long imposed a sort of economic blockade on the Southeast by deliberately restricting the operations of seaports and airports. As a result, businesses in the region were forced to depend on the facilities in Lagos, leading to increased costs and significant economic hardships. This, he insisted, was not a matter of mere administrative oversight. It was a calculated move intended to stifle economic growth and reinforce the political dominance of other regions over the Southeast. The narrative he painted was one of a people who had been systematically marginalized, whose voices had been silenced by a combination of economic coercion and political subterfuge. What struck me the most was the way Prince Nnamdi Kanu wove personal loss with broader political commentary. His recollections of that dark day in 2017 were intermingled with scathing criticisms of the current state of governance in Nigeria. He argued passionately that the continued detention of his brother, Nnamdi Kanu, was not just a legal or political issue, it was a tool that allowed criminal elements to thrive. In his view, as long as his brother remained behind bars, those who operated outside the law would continue to exploit his name to carry out illegal activities with impunity. The irony, as he saw it, was that his brother was not the cause of the problem, but rather a potential solution. His release, he contended, would be a significant step toward unmasking the real criminals and restoring order in a region that had suffered far too long under the yoke of injustice. In the midst of his impassioned discourse, Prince Nnamdi Kanu also brought to light the drama that had unfolded during the recent court session in Abuja. He described the chaotic scene in the courtroom where, after the judge recused herself, the case was inexplicably reassigned to another judge. This unexpected turn of events left everyone present in a state of bewilderment. Members of his legal team and even the ordinary citizens in the gallery were left asking the same burning question: what was the true motive behind this judicial shuffle? According to Prince Nnamdi Kanu, this was not a simple administrative decision, but rather part of a broader conspiracy aimed at keeping his brother imprisoned. The reassignment, he argued, was a blatant signal that the system was rigged against them. A system that was more interested in perpetuating a cycle of injustice than in upholding the principles of fairness and due process. As he continued to speak, I could sense the frustration and desperation in his words. He recounted how, in the days following the court appearance, he had engaged in numerous conversations with political leaders and legal experts, all of whom expressed disbelief at the manner in which the case was being handled. In one particularly memorable moment, he recalled a conversation with a prominent member of the government who had urged the President of Nigeria to release his brother. Nigeria's Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, had made an impassioned plea, arguing that the release of Nnamdi Kanu was the key to restoring peace and stability in the Southeast. Yet, despite this public outcry and the support of many influential figures, there had been no concrete action taken. The silence of the Southeast governors was deafening, and it served only to reinforce Prince Nnamdi Kanu's belief that there was a deliberate effort to keep his family's legacy under lock and key. For Prince Nnamdi Kanu, the inaction of the Southeast political leadership was not just a matter of political strategy. It was a personal betrayal. He recalled with bitterness how, in contrast to the Yoruba leaders who had worked tirelessly to secure the release of Sunday Igboho, the governors from the Southeast had done nothing to help his brother. This disparity, he argued, was not a coincidence, but a symptom of a deeper malaise, a systemic bias that favored certain regions over others. It was as if the very fabric of the nation had been woven with threads of favoritism, leaving the indigenous people of Biafra to suffer the consequences. The economic strangulation that he described was both literal and metaphorical. By denying the Southeast full access to its seaports and airports, the government was not only impeding trade, but also sending a clear message that the region was of lesser importance, a message that echoed in every frustrated business owner, in every citizen who had been forced to watch their hopes for progress dashed time and again. I found myself pausing to consider the broader implications of his words. It was clear that Prince Nnamdi Kanu was not merely recounting personal tragedies or airing family grievances. He was, in essence, offering a searing critique of a system that had long allowed injustice to flourish. He spoke of the ways in which criminal elements, often masquerading under the banner of the indigenous people of Biafra or the Eastern Security Network, had taken advantage of the chaos. In a region where the truth had become a casualty of political expediency, it was all too easy for those in power to label any dissent or disruption as being related to these groups. Whether it was kidnapping, organ harvesting, or other heinous crimes, the tactic was the same: to discredit the movement by associating it with criminality. In his view, this strategy not only undermined the legitimacy of the indigenous people of Biafra, but also created a fertile ground for corruption and lawlessness. I remember sitting there, absorbing every word, and feeling a profound sense of sadness for all those who had been caught in the crossfire of political ambition and military aggression. Prince Nnamdi Kanu's narrative was not just about a family in mourning. It was about an entire community that had been marginalized, suppressed, and systematically denied justice. His voice, though filled with grief, was also resolute. He maintained that the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu was nothing short of a grave injustice. In his eyes, his elder brother was not the enemy. He was a beacon of hope, a man who, if released, could help shine a light on the corruption and criminality that had taken root in the very institutions that were supposed to protect the people. As he spoke, it became evident that there was a sense of urgency in his words, a call to action that went beyond the confines of a single family's struggle. He argued passionately that the only way to break the cycle of violence and injustice was to engage in a meaningful dialogue, a round-table discussion where all the stakeholders could come together, face to face, and address the issues that had long been ignored. This, he believed, was the only path toward genuine reconciliation and lasting peace in the Southeast. He dismissed the notion that solutions could be found in the courts or through the use of force. Instead, he championed the idea that true progress would come from honest, direct conversations, a willingness on the part of political leaders, security agencies, and the people themselves to confront uncomfortable truths and work together toward a common goal. He dismissed the notion that solutions could be found in the courts or through the use of force. Instead, he championed the idea that true progress would come from honest, direct conversations, a willingness on the part of political leaders, security agencies, and the people themselves to confront uncomfortable truths and work together toward a common goal.
Why have they not been to see Mr. President up until today? What are they afraid of? I've listened to some of the things they're saying, because some of them said they're elected leaders, so to speak. Nnamdi Kanu is elected. So when it comes out, what's going to happen? They are more concerned with his post release more than anything. They are not even worried about Alimo to be secured. But like I said, Nnamdi Kanu meant well for everybody. He is not part of the problem, he's part of the solution. I keep saying this over and over again. So why have they not, up until now, met with Mr. President? A few months ago, I saw them on the media saying, oh, very soon we're going to secure Nnamdi Kanu's release. We're going to meet with Mr. President. What is keeping them up until this point?
With me today is the younger brother to the leader of IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You're welcome. We would like you to tell us more about yourself.
Well, you've said it all. My name is Prince Kanu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's youngest brother, leader of indigenous people of Biafra.
People have been wondering about what happened to your family for some years back now, about how the military and others invaded your house. Few days ago, your family also remembered what happened at Perth. We would like you to tell us actually how you feel and how your family feel about the invasion a few years ago.
Well, the invasion has remained a very sad memory from 2017 up until death. But if you can recall, on 30th of August 2017, there was a meeting between Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leader of indigenous people of Biafra, with the Southeast governors that took place in any state. Soon after he made his demands, he was assured that his demands would be taken to the president up in Abuja. But funny enough, 2 weeks after which, the house was invaded, codenamed Operation Python Beans, that took over 28 lives and subsequently led to the death of my parents. Even where we are, I lost about 5 persons here as well. So, ever since then, things have not been the same. Operation Python Dance affected the entire community. I remember vividly well the little girl that lives opposite my parents' house. Each time she sees police or siren blastering, you see the girl screaming, "Oh, mommy, they're coming again to kill us." So these are the memories we have. Of course, my parents died as a result of Operation Python Dance. And personally myself, I was also affected. I'm still here without farm up until tomorrow. I know it's going to take the grace of God for it to leave me, so to speak. But Operation Python Dance is something we'll never forget. It was planned by the security agent of Nigeria. What was more sad was that a lot of our people knew that Operation Python Dance was going to take place in this place. They weren't informed, including the governor there and Kezibas. They knew. The whole target was to get Nnamdi Kanu to kill.
How do you know?
Of course, it's in public domain. It's everywhere. It's in public domain. There was a wider conspiracy to destroy my family. Every single person in that family. The instruction was let them go down. But of course, the thought of man is not the thought of God. As God would have it, we were able to escape it. But we're not in a hurry to forget that.
So on 14th February was the Remembrance Day of your late friends. You have a lot of people that came to visit while your elder brother is still on detention. So how can you put those things together?
Well, 14th of every year has become a ritual for the indigenous people of Biafra, but particularly for my own family. Because that was the very day we lost our parents. And ever since then, every 14th of every year, February, we honor them. It's painful that my brother is not here, but then what can we do? I'm here, to make sure that family is fully represented. It wasn't easy, going back to their grave side, to pour libations, trying to remember what I would say should have been in the past. It was a very difficult one. As people came from all over Biafra land to honor that very occasion. And it's a ritual that we must keep doing until the end of time. They lost their lives for what they believe in. I keep saying it time and again. Their death wasn't natural. If not for the trauma, my parents would have still been alive today. But then they're gone. I will keep honoring them.
Yes, let's go back to your elder brother. Let's say his detention for some years right now. People have been agitating in different ways about his release. last week we came to the Federal High Court, Abuja, and a lot of drama happened that day. While most people are saying that he was teaching most people how the law is, some other people said he was making a lot of noise during that day. We would like, because we saw you, that they would like you to tell us what all the drama is all about.
Well, the might call it a drama, so to speak. Of course, you and I know that he has his critics out there. So no matter what he does, they will always talk ill of him. But let me set this narrative right. Binta Inyako recused herself from my brother's case. And soon after that thing took place, we were able to get the CTC certified to copy of that judgment, okay, against the woman. Now, we were surprised. We were asked to come to the court all of a sudden on the 10th. We had a meeting. We said, why won't we go to the court? Perhaps there's a change of plan. Upon arriving in court, lo and behold, Binta Inyako was in court. We were like, what's going on? You've recused yourself. What do you have to do with this case? Is there any interest? So we're trying to put one on one together. So after a long while, she of course introduced the case. A woman with the prosecutor took over and blah blah blah. And then the lead counsel of my brother stood and said, my lord, why are we in this court? What exactly are we doing here? Of course, you've recused yourself, so what are you doing? The woman said, no. What happened was that the case file was returned to chief judge, and through a moment it was reassigned to her. It's not going anywhere. The only thing that can set aside the order of the court is the appeal court. Do you understand? So, of course, Nnamdi Kanu, he's well versatile with the law. He took it up from there and was teaching them what the law says. It's as simple as that. He related the law both to the judge and to the prosecution team. So at the point, of course, he had to raise his voice. Making sure that whatever he says, gets to them. That was all that happened in the court. It wasn't a drama per se, but he said, look, you have recused yourself and you stand to be recused. So what interest do you have over this case? This is the question everyone was asking. What is your interest over this case? The whole thing has gone to rubbish the entire judicial system of Nigeria. It has become something of mockery today. So the argument is simple. As long as you remain recused, there is no way you can come back to that same case. So we saw it as a grand conspiracy through the chief judge, which is also. Let me remind you something. 2016, in Federal High Court Abuja, when someone was heading my brother's case, so to speak, my brother accused him of bias. He recused himself. He made no attempt to come back to that matter. So how come this one is completely strong and different from other cases you've ever seen? Why are you insisting that Binta Inyako must, handle this case? What is the interest? Make no mistake, from the findings we've made, he was in Lagos when my brother was renditioned from Kenya to Nigeria. It was Malami then the Attorney of the Federation that asked him to come over to Abuja to take care of this case. Do you understand? Then automatically the case was assigned to Binta Inyako. So you can see, coming from Malami to John Soho and now to Binta Inyako, you can see that conspiracy from all those people. So the whole idea is to have Nnamdi Kanu put to jail. Then after we can now ask for presidential pardon. But it's impossible. He has committed no crime up until today. We went as far as asking for going for prima facie. They were able to produce evidence before the court. All they wanted was to bring all the security agents, come and testify, whatever he says stands. But with the person Nnamdi Kanu is not going to work. Things must be done and must be seen to be done right. That is where we are today.
Sir, we also have some other questions to ask you. Last time in a media chat with the governor of Abia State, there's a question that was thrown to him about how far has he gone to make sure Nnamdi Kanu is out from detention. His answer is he is doing a background work to make sure he will be back. So let me go back to you, and what's the relationship with the family and the governor of Abia State? How far has he tried to make sure that your brother is out? Secondly is, the Southeast governors, what have they done to make sure or to hear from your brother or to make sure that your brother is out from detention?
Well, it's a very good question to ask. From what I know, from 2017 up until today, I'm not sure they have done enough. Or should I say they have done absolutely nothing to secure the release of Nnamdi Kanu. The big question is this. Since 2021 up until today, the Southeast Governors Forum as a body is yet to meet with Mr. President. Why is it taking longer than necessary? The case of Igboho was something completely different. It's all the Yoruba elite, all the politicians, all of them went to the Republic to make sure they secure the release of Sunday Igboho. How come in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the governors are completely silent? Like I said, they are complicit in what is happening. Either they are beneficiaries of insecurity, because if they want peace in Alibo, by now they would have done something. I repeat, why have they not been to see Mr. President up until today? What are they afraid of? I've listened to some of the things they are saying, because some of them said they're elected leaders, so to speak. Nnamdi Kanu is elected. So when it comes out, what's going to happen? They are more concerned with the space release more than anything. They are not even worried about Alibo to be secured. But like I said, Nnamdi Kanu meant well for everybody. He is not part of the problem, he's part of the solution. I keep saying this over and over again. So why have they not, up until now, meet with Mr. President? A few months ago, I saw them on the media saying, oh, very soon we're going to secure Nnamdi Kanu's release. We're going to meet with Mr. President. What is keeping them up until this point?
Don't you think they're doing out in the background?
Well, nothing has been done. Let them go and see Mr. President and demand for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. You see what will happen. President is not a fool. If Nnamdi Kanu is your son, come and see me so we can sit down and find a way out. I've said this before. Bullets and guns will not solve the problem. The only thing that will solve this problem is having meaningful conversation, a round table. On a round table, a meaningful conversation on a round table, eyeball to eyeball. That's the only thing that will bring peace. Not the court, not guns and bullets, not all the bickerings here and there. No. The only thing that will solve this problem is to sit down on a round table and then begin to look at the issues that are germane Nnamdi Kanu raised. Until that is done, I don't see us going anywhere.
What are the issues?
They are simple. He said they should revive all the money bond industries. He talked about good health system. He talked about dredging the River Niger. He talked about allowing Enugu to function as a full international airport. He talked about Akwa Ibom Seaport and the airport. He talked about the Iguacha, which is present day at Port Harcourt, seaport and that of international airport. He talked about Simon Bako Airport, to be allowed to function as a full private international airport. These are his demands. There was no defamation in it. Now let me put this to you. The only functional seaport today, so to speak, is in Lagos. Now I'm an Igbo man. I'm in the southeast of Nigeria. Now perhaps I have a goods to clear in Lagos. I have to pay transport from here to go to Lagos to go and clear the goods. On my way coming, I have to settle all the security agents on the road until I get to Alibo. What would that cost? Causing inflation. Whereas from here to Port Harcourt will take me like less than an hour to go and bring my goods. Whereas from Lagos takes almost 12 hours. Taking all the risks while coming back. So they know this is economic stagnation. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing to suppress Ndigo as it is. Now even while he was talking about seaport, to allow them to function to its capacity, what did they do? They went to the north and opened dry seaport in the north. Have you forgotten that happened in Nigeria? Is it offending to anybody? The answer is no. So they know the right thing to do. Nnamdi Kanu is not asking for much. He's not asking for much. He wants the good of our people. It's as simple as that.
Okay, down to Southeast. Insecurity in Southeast. Most people have been saying the detention of your elder brother, releasing him will make Southeast to be secured. For people to know who and who has been committing offense. On the media, most of the parades from the army and the police shows that most of those crimes were IPOBs and ESN. So what's your take on that? Are they your members?
Well, the bitter truth is this. The government of the day is doing whatever they can possible to criminalize IPOB movement. You and I know that ESN was designed to man our boundaries in our forest against the invading terrorists. You hardly see ESN on the road. So IPOB per se has become a huge merchandise for a lot of people. So you can go anywhere as a criminal, create your own camp, start kidnapping people. And before you know it, they say it's IPOB. So whatever happens in Alibo is IPOB. Even if you slap your wife now, you are an IPOB member. So that's the way it is. That is the narrative in Alibo. But we know the truth. Now, the only way, the fastest message to stop this, all this evil going on in Alibo, is to have Nnamdi Kanu release. Then we'll be able to identify those criminals where they are. Because as long as he's in detention, make no mistake, people will keep stealing, they will keep maiming and killing. And that's not harvesting as well. You know what, people come from all over Nigeria, even outside Nigeria, down to southeast, to kill and to do organ harvesting. But at the end of the day, they tag IPOB. Now look at the businessman in Anambra State that was caught by the so-called security agent. They told the man, if he refuses to settle them, that they will tag him an IPOB member. So this is how bad it is in Alibo. So they are doing whatever they can to suppress IPOB. But it's impossible. It is extremely impossible because we understand the vision of IPOB. Of course, we are not criminals and we cannot be. Like Nnamdi Kanu has always said. He said, I don't give life, I cannot take life. It's as simple as that. So, if they are not benefiting from this security, I repeat, by the power that be, particularly the Southeast governors, if they are not benefiting from this security, believe you me, they would have done something differently. Abacha once said, I'm sorry to quote this, that if this security lasts more than 24 hours, the government is involved in it. So, somebody somewhere is fighting hard to make sure they will rubbish the name of IPOB. That's what they're doing. They see IPOB as the biggest threat. You know, Chidora is the end. So it doesn't matter your level of effort to rubbish IPOB will not work. So what is happening today in Alibo, as long as you're a man, as long as you remain a criminal, a kidnapper, all you need to do is to go somewhere in the bush, open your own camp with Biafran flag, and then you become an IPOB member. So whatever happens is IPOB. Even the security agents themselves, they are busy creating fake camps, tagging with IPOB camps, just to make sure they keep IPOB down. That is exactly what is happening.
All right. Recently, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Rep, Right Honorable Benjamin Carlo, during the meeting of this new creation of Southeast Development Commission, after their meeting, he made a pronouncement and also begged the President of Nigeria for him to please release Nnamdi Kanu so that there will be peace in Southeast. What's your reaction on that?
Should I say that different people with different approach, so to speak. In as much as we all have one direction, the way you present this case is what matters so much. He's the Speaker of the House. He's part of the government. He's doing what he's supposed to do. And of course I commend him for that. I also commend other people who are working genuinely hard to make sure Nnamdi Kanu is freed. But more importantly, the more we keep begging Mr. President, it looks as if Nnamdi Kanu has committed crime. You understand? But like I said, we're all different people. How we choose our words is entirely up to us. But then I would prefer them making a very firm demand. Firm demand. They need to come together as a people, as a body, as a political elite, so to speak. Come together and make a strong case for Nnamdi Kanu. If you look at what is happening, you see, individuals are calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. That is where I have problem. Why don't they come together as a people from the southeast, and demand for the release of Nnamdi Kanu? Then that will go a long way. But like I said, I have my respect for him. He's doing a whole lot of job, and I commend him for that. And for other people as well, I commend him.
So what do you have to say about, like you've mentioned this here, that most people, some armed robbers and other people, who use that name, IPOB, to commit crime. What's the message to them?
It is no longer business as usual, because Nnamdi Kanu has adopted a new approach on how to deal with all these people. He has made it clear repeatedly. If you are in the bush killing, maiming, or perhaps involved in organ harvesting, you had better stop now, because tomorrow might be too late for you. He has set mechanism in place that will checkmate all these people. As I speak to you now, it's ongoing. And he's not relenting about it. He's not happy. He said, I have come that my people might have a better life and not to destroy them. So, most of them caught today, some of them come from Benue State, some from the north, and all of that. Not particularly from Alibo. You know, what they are doing is that, let us do whatever we can to rubbish Alibo, to make sure this place is ungovernable. That's what a lot of people are doing in Alibo today. I remember the few of them that were caught that day. They couldn't speak Igbo language. They are complete strangers.
IPOB members.
They don't have problem, they haven't seen me and none of it. So when you see them, you will assume they are IPOB members. By the time you engage them, you discover, oh God, who are they? So a lot is happening. And the only person that can stop this evil is Nnamdi Kanu. I assure you, if he gets released today, within 24 hours, everyone will be silent. It will no longer be business as usual for the criminals. And they won't have any hiding place.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.